dear friends, in this particular session, where we shall be discussing about how essential is the publication for a postgraduate student, this is the breakout of the session where we shall be talking about why this publishing is important for a postgraduate student, right? Because often in our lives, we came across that people who are doing PhD, the doctoral research, or people who are doing postdoc, or people who are in academia working as assistant professors, associate professors, professor emeritus, or people who are in the consultancy or the research firms like KPMG or the other statutory bodies like UNWTO, UNDP, UNICEF, and so many, UNESCO. They are involved in the research and developmental activities, right? So why is important to publish right from the beginning when we got involved or when we got entered to our post-graduation? And what sort of academic publication avenues are there? How many types of publications we can do? Third is the steps in publishing the research process. And then I put the common challenges which are among all the researchers, all the evolving and the budding researchers when we start this, and how to mitigate or to overcome those challenges, and then ethical practices which needs to be followed. And then towards the end of the session, we shall be discussing about the practical tips and the resources, followed by the question answer session. I hope this suits you all well, right? And one more thing before I begin with the session, I want from all of you to have a discussion. Rather than a monotonous session that I shall be speaking and you all people will be listening, I want this session to be a really fruitful one for you. Whatever you think about research and you want to know from me, I am open to respond back to your queries, right? So let's begin with. So why is it important to publish as a student? Can I have the answers, please? Whatever answer you think based upon your judgment, fine sense of judgment. Why is it important to publish as a postgraduate student? Anyone? Yes, please. Condition, yes, right. It's a condition to end our PhD or to our master thesis, right? Very painful, right? Everybody has to do this, willingly or unwillingly, isn't it? So if we have to do this, why can't we have fun while doing this? Isn't it? Make our publishing journey a very lighter one, a very funniest one, so that we will enjoy this journey. Isn't it? I guess it's not working, so they can't see. It's stuck.
It's stuck.
Yeah, it's stuck. So the first and the foremost point, why is the need to get published? So my answer to this is, it helps us in building academic profile and credibility. Just to sort this out. How do I know Dr. Prachi? Or how do I know Dr. Kaitinoto? How? Why? Yes, very right. Their publications, their scholarships. Right? So we are living in such a world where 203 countries are there. And if I talk about South Africa or maybe about India, they are big countries with diverse population. So how I came across in connection with Professor Ju or Dr. Prachi? Because as a researcher, when I was reading some articles, I came to know that such professor exists in Bonn University of Technology who used to be researching tourism. Such a female professor is working in Sunday University, Malaysia. She is doing a lot of research on gender, feminism, isn't it? So, what it brings to us? An academic reputation and a credibility. It helps us to do networking or to come across the people who are there in this world. You know, we can't count the number of journals which are there. First, we can, to searching.
Somebody left their bag during lunch. So,
Okay,
want to find
so
out.
the lady has to make the announcement. Somebody has left their bag while having the lunch. Okay, fine. So, while coming back to our agenda, that this builds academic profile and credibility of yours. You know, sitting in Africa, doing a wonderful work on sustainable tourism, a person sitting in India or down to the north or anywhere in the west or across any country of the globe may come to know that Mr. X is working on the sustainable tourism in Africa. So it gives you mileage. It gives you credibility. Right? And that is how we came to know, while we select a topic for our research publication or for a journal article for our PhD, that what already is existing there. Because while we start on any idea which come across our mind, we first try to search the notable work which has already been done in that field by the various academic researchers across the globe. So my dear friends, the moral of the story here is that it is very important to publish as a student as well. And believe me, we are professors, the students in the area of research. Every day we come across new things, new researches, try to learn. It's as good as the cell phone which we are having in our pocket. Every second across the world, technology advances. You know, electronic gadgets. The evolution in them. Same is the case in the evolution in the academic research. Every now and then people are going through the various problems and try to answer to those problems with the help of the research. So it's very important to publish and to build an academic profile which brings later credibility to us. Right? Second, why do we publish? Because while we do work many a times, it polishes our knowledge towards that particular thing, or it enhances our skill towards that particular thing. While I started writing, might be the first draft was not worthy of being published. I once again tried to solve those issues. I once again tried to write. And writing, rejecting, writing, when this becomes a habit, you know, the feedback which the reviewers gives us, because see, as a human being, I may have the limited knowledge, or I may focus on the one aspect of that particular issue. But as the reviewer, you might have a different thought of process about that thing. So it polishes our knowledge, it enhances our skill. So that is why, in order to enhance our skills, we need to publish. We need to do research. And later then, everybody knows, like or unlike India or in South Africa or in London, UK, US, you know, we used to publish for our career advancements, our bonuses, our promotions, isn't it? I hope this might be the case in the South Africa as well. You know, doing PhD, postdoctoral fellowship, or academic jobs. So, because we publish good, we have those research credentials. So we may be given an edge upon others in a specific job. So that is why publication is important, right? Then comes the networking and visibility in academic community. Once I started work on community-based tourism, I was the first one in India to work on a thesis of PhD on community-based tourism. Second was the Rinzing Lama from IITTM. So I can count on the numbers on the hand that who did research in these particular areas. It makes us wiser. It makes us well aware So that is why, in order to gain a visibility or to be, a master of a particular area, you need to do research. And you need to work on that particular direction itself. Don't leave the track. You might be heard of the phrase or the saying, jack of all trades is master of none. Hello? Hello. Jack of all trades is master of none. But I have revised that quote. Now it is jack of all trades is master ace of one. Maybe I am not good in qualitative, but I am good in quantitative. So I rather focus going to qualitative. I always focus to go on quantitative. I used to learn first SPSS, then go to AMOS, Smart PLS, then R, then go for mixed methods, now serial mediations. Isn't it? Right? Then, scholarships and funding opportunities. Most of you from the postgraduate students will likely to evolve as a PhD scholar. So if you have a paper published in your kitty, may give you an advantage or the edge over the others who will be applying for the PhD or the doctoral research work. So may enable yourself to fetch research scholarships. Many research institutions in India or abroad, they now give financial incentives to the people who are having a good research or the scholarships, maybe free PhD or postdoctoral fellowship with the stipend or the salary for the same. So that is why publishing is important, my dear friends. Then moving ahead, how many are the types of publications? Everybody knows. They are very common is journal articles, international journal articles, which are indexed in Scopus, Web of Science, SSCI, ABDC or peer reviewed, isn't it? Everybody wants to publish in the good journals, in the big journals, top tier journals. The second category is the conference papers or the proceedings. Like most of us across the world has traveled to the Wall University of Technology to attend this conference. And Dr. Doob later will come out with the conference proceedings of the papers which were submitted and selected after the thorough peer review or the blind review, which are worthy of publications and may come out with the conference proceedings, right? The third category is the books and the book chapters everybody knows, right? Maybe Scopus indexed, non-indexed, or maybe with the ISBN number. The next category is letter to editors. If you don't have an idea, or if you feel that something you need to convey to an editor what is happening wrong in the academic journals, and the editors, because most of the good journals, they publish letter to editors as well. And they are the critics, most obviously, right? So you can place in that category as well. Then case study, technical notes, short communications, there are a number of journals which publishes such things as well. And then you can have posters and the abstracts in the conferences like we are here in this conference, and the next 3 days we will be doing this business. So my dear friend, the first and the foremost thing for getting published is to take a first wise step. And what is that first wise step? Is to choose the right journal and the right conference. So many academic conferences happening in this globe. We have this conference from today onwards until 29th. Then there is another conference in the Johannesburg from 1st to 5th. University of Johannesburg is hosting that. And when you will Google it out, you'll find that across these all countries across the globe, I guess more than 100, 200 conferences are happening daily. Which one is good? Which one is better for you? So you need to find it out. And finding a right journal is the first wise step. There are so many predatory journals who ask for money and publish the substandard research. And this comes with the experience. Or maybe you should try for a leading journal and may test yourself there, and based on the reviewer's comment, you can submit that to a lower category, to a journal which will not ask for any money. Or there are journals which are open access as well. But they are the good journals. But there are journals which directly straight away ask for the money, and they are the dubious journals. You will publish, you will give money, but your paper will not come in the Scopus. And they are the clone journals, predatory ones. So you need to choose that wisely, right? So there are misguiding websites as well. Because people are that much clever with the advent of the technology. So what we have to do, we have to go to the SkyMago, we have to go to the Scopus and find that the journal is there on the list or not. Then second is impact factor and indexing. Higher you publish in the higher impact factors, more chances of gaining the visibility or gaining the attention to the academic researchers across the globe. Every now and then, when a paper published in an A star or A category, that fetch attention to my mind, that keeps me updated that what is happening across the globe in the academic research in the area of tourism, or maybe in the community-based tourism or in the consumer behavior, in those areas where I research. Then, as I talked about open access versus the subscription journal, there is one more category I did now, subscription journals. You publish, you get a subscription, and you have to pay for that subscription. It is as good as open access, right? So, my personal thought, I have never went to a journal which asks for the money. Because there is a fear of getting that journal out of the Scopus or the other databases every now and then. So I decided to overcome that fear, and I thought of and make it a habit that I'll not submit or publish any paper with the journals who will ask for the money. I always prefer to go with the journals which are not asking for money. Then, when this idea comes to your mind, my dear friends, while pitching that idea for a paper, you must have this mind that who will be your target audience, for whom you are going to publish, what you are going to publish. And when someone asks me that how do we come across any statement of the problem or any problem, how do I come to know that this thing can be researched or this thing can't be researched? So my dear friends, even to keep my wife happy is also a question of research. Isn't it? You might have friends, boyfriends, wife, or Professor Doob has kids, and even my daughter, she's so small, just 5 years, even I need to do certain things to make her happy. It's a question of research. So the research itself starts from our home. We don't need to go anywhere. There are so many problems around us. Even if I said this on a lighter note, that even to keep my wife happy is also a question of research, because I need to pen down certain things, what she dislikes, what she likes, what makes her happy. Should I take her to shopping? Would she like to go for a vacation? So the research, it will not come from the Mars. The problem lies, just around us. We need to focus it out. And this reminds me, one fine day I was traveling for a conference, and I pull out a magazine in an airline, and I came across a word called flight shame. Have you heard about the word of flight shame? No? Flight shame. Feeling ashamed of flying through air, because it emits a lot of CO2. It impacts a lot of, it impacts a lot on our ecosystem, pollution. So after industries, flights are the third most polluting factor in this globe. So when I was flying for a conference, I pulled out a magazine and I came across a term, flight scam or flight shame, which was coined in Sweden in 2013. That people in Sweden, they feel ashamed of flying through air. Because, of course, Europe has a well-developed transportation system, right? So people might thought of that flying through air and flying through the public transportation system, trams, trains, may result in lowering down the pollution. So my dear friends, that verse caught my attention in 2015, and it remained in my subconscious mind. And when 2019, because whenever I come across certain terms, I make note out of them. I'll write it down somewhere. So again, just before COVID, this reminds me, and I tried to collaborate with two of the very leading and global professors, Professor Mustafa Rasuli Manesh. He happens to be the father of Smart PLS, working in Australia these days. That time he was working with Taylor's University, Malaysia, and Dr. N.T. Mendick, University of Split, Croatia. So I tried to search about flight shame. But I come from a country, my dear friends, where flight shame is not there. But flying through air is an affair of being proud. People used to post the pics on the Facebook and the Instagram. I am boarding a flight, full board, half board. So I thought, maybe I'm in a wrong direction. Maybe this idea is not workable in this context in India. But, you know, I think God is very great, and, you know, where there is a will, there is a way. Then, suddenly across the globe, research on the Gen Z. Maybe you people will be Gen Z, Generation Z. How many of you born before 1995? Or after? How many? Nobody wants to disclose their age. Oh my God. So, that boom in the Generation Z studies across the world, that caught my attention. And while revealing the review of literature, I found that this generation is the most intellectual, most well-read, well-studied generation, and having a lot of money in the pocket because everybody is on the job these days. So I thought, why not investigating this idea of flight shame across Generation Z in India? And my dear friends, I ended up with an A-star publication in Journal of Sustainable Tourism with 10 impact factors. So in the land where flying through air is a proud, I still found a problem with the right audience. The audience which is the most educated cohort these days across the globe with more disposable income. So any idea which you get while talking to others, while reading it out, but you need to find the right journal, right audience, and the right population to study upon. This Generation Z is booming across the academia these days, nothing like anything. There's sustainable consumption behavior, there's sustainable intelligence. One other paper which I published later on the young consumers, again IBDCB and a Q1 journal, on their sustainable intelligence. You know? So when you enter to a road, try to dive down in that particular area. Don't leave that area. While coming here, I was discussing with Prachi, and Prachi told me, sir, I only research in gender studies. I don't deviate from that. So you have that generation that just to choose your right area now. And then having a good publication that do your PhD in that area and then later postdoc. Because West recognizes only the micro specialization these days. I'm not saying to follow the West. What happens to these continents, Africa, India, we try to replicate the studies which has already been done in the West. We need to stop follow the West, my dear friends. Because no top-tier journal wants to replicate the study. What will you do if I talk about flight shame? If it has already been published in US or UK, what will you do? You will be doing the same research on same context, but a diverse population and a diverse area, which will not be having that much of the shelf life. So the editor will certainly desk reject your paper. It will not go to the reviewers. So the idea should be innovative. We should not replicate the study. Don't go for a second generation study. Why can't we have the first generation of the studies? There are ample number of ideas. So this we can have different, I just put a rough one as per this But for book publishing, we have a different sequence. Some journals, we have the different. So we have an idea. We'll do a preliminary review of literature. Why? Because this review will tell us to identify the statement of the problem. What is the problem? If you want to study the area of fly shame, or sustainable intelligence, or environmentally conscious consumer behavior, you need to do a preliminary survey or readings, maybe the secondary surveys, secondary reports, the papers published, will give you an idea that this much of work has been done in that particular area, but these points are also there which were never touched. So our novelty will be touching down those points and extending the cohort of knowledge in that particular area. Right? So then again, we'll draft the problem, and after that problem, again, we will be doing the review of the literature. That one will be the rigorous one. And believe me, my dear friends, this is the most toughest task to do, review of literature. People think that this is very easy, and the era of ChatGPT and this artificial intelligence, we will do it very easily. Because there are tools which will, within a second catch that you have done this. And a lot of people, after doing this review of literature, check that to the plagiarism detecting software. So my emphasis here and request to you, don't read and copy. Read, understand, then write in your own language. I can bet on that it will never come to any plagiarized form. But what we do, we generally cut, copy, paste, and try to rephrase the language. Don't do that. Don't do that. For short-term success, it might work, but for longer duration, it is not going to help you out. Right? Then, selecting a journal, as I told, that is the first and the foremost step. Two ways. You can do the reverse engineering as well. I didn't want to tell you that, but to a person with me having 45 papers in my kitty, I can do a reverse engineering. Writing a paper first, then selecting a journal. Other way around is good one. Selecting your topic, select the journal, and then write that journal as per the guidelines of the journal. And as an associate editor, let me tell you very honestly, 50% of the papers got desk rejection every day because either they did not address the aim and scope of the journal, or either they are not following the format of the journal. My dear friends, we have desk rejected paper based on the referencing style and the citation style as well. Emerald is very particular about that. While you write a reference in the APA 7th, there's a dot there, which is not in other APA styles. So we need to be very, very cautious. And I have seen the researchers which were not following Mendeley, not Zotero, they type the references manually. That is there in their mind. It's very easy. Right? Then the submission as per the journal's guidelines. Then peer review and revision, disseminating citations, bibliography. And this will come back. I just crafted this. But when you will go for actual research proposal, some of the points will not be here. They will be omitted here. Right? So it also varies from type of research you want to conduct. Right? Then what should be there for writing a quality paper, my dear friends? So I've given a structure which I called as IRMARAD, IMRAD. Introduction, review, methods, analysis, discussion, results, and discussion. These are the essential steps which a paper consists. Then we can come up with the limitations or the future area of research in that particular area. So more likely, 90% of the journals follows that particular structure. Then title and the abstract is the first impression. And where we are wrong, we used to first draft title and then write the paper. This should be the last thing to draft the title and the punchline. And believe me, the days are there when we don't entertain the title more than 12 words. Your title is the gateway to your research. So it should be appealing, novelty, showing novelty, So clear and crisp idea about your research, what you intend to do in that particular paper. you can take help. I told you that Mendeley, Zataro, a lot of endnotes are there. Then there should be a clarity and coherence in writing, my dear friends. What you want to convey to the editor or to the reviewer actually, rather than creating or cooking stories. Let's come down straight to the point. I've seen people writing an introduction, cooking a story, ending or landing nowhere. So every morning, when we open our dashboard for the tourism geographies, my dear friends, it won't take more than 20 minutes, less than 20 minutes to come to a conclusion that I need to send that paper to a peer review or I have to disregard straight away. Prachi may also second me because she happens to be the managing editor for Tourism Management Perspectives, one of the leading journals of the Academia in Tourism and Hospitality, and she was the managing editor for more than 3 years. So it just takes 5, 10, 15 minutes that whether we want to send this paper to peer review or whether we just want to throw it out and give her. See, your work of more than a year has been decided less than 15 minutes. Imagine, sarcastically, murdered like anything, isn't it? But that also shows, my dear friend, that what we have done in that last 1 year. Quality versus quantity. You know, that is why I said no title should be more than 12 words and clearly communicate what actually we intended to do that. And the abstract, that of 150 words or 200 words, most likely, some journals are left who are entertaining 200 words abstract these days, only 150 words. So 150 words, only 150 words are the deciding words about the fate of your paper. Right? Then figure table visuals, everyone has different format, but also they should be submitted in a editable format. That is really appreciable. Gone are the days when there were ethics in the publication. Now the entire globe has moved towards unethical things which are there in the academic publishing, you know. There are tools. When you ask ChatGPT, copy that, go to the other tool, tell that to humanize that. It took around 2 minutes, and then you submit that paper, and the editor take less than 2 minutes to desk reject that. Because once we get the summary, we also get the AI content percentage in that as well. Believe me, the humanization is good for classroom presentations, not for the research papers. If you are smart, people are more smarter than us. So why to do such things? Because previously people were very ethical about research. Now so many unethical practices are being involved. You know how people happens to be the top 2% Stanford list? People buy citations. People do cross citations, self citations. I have seen editors who force you to add their paper citation in your paper, which is not at all in coherence with the paper which they intend us to cite. You know, I would love to die with less than 5,000 citations, rather to live with 50,000 citations where I will get criticized 10 years down the line. This world is so small, and the technology is advancing that much faster that the days will be there when it will tell that 5,000 citations of Dr. Sandeep Walia happens to be from those journals which are not at all relevant to the tourism, hospitality, and to the consumer behavior. And then what will I do? Authorship criteria, you might have seen. Dr. Sandeep Walia, CVM University. Adjunct Professor, Sunway University, Malaysia. Adjunct Associate, University of Split, Croatia, because everybody is making money. Unfortunately, the universities has to run a race where the accreditations has been decided by the research publications and H-index and I-10 index of those institutions. Whether you talk about Times Higher Education, QS, or other accrediting agencies, Shanghai as well. So, people are doing unfair means. Because the universities require you and their affiliation under your name. So they give you a hefty amount. And you also need, if money is coming, why would you say no? Right? Data fabrication and falsification of data, my dear friends. People think that we are very smart, we are very much fluent in Excel, we can create a faulty data. But that can also be triggered and picked in just less than a second. Because Elsevier has now made it clearly. They want the response sheet from you. And I guess in the coming days, other journals will ask for that. You know, ChatGPT can also create an Excel sheet for you. Really? Yes, if you have a paid version. ChatGPT can make you presentations. ChatGPT can make you assignments. Everything. Because that is a generative thing. You know, that doesn't cut, copy, paste. That picks the data which is there across the globe on the e-platforms. That is generative AI, artificial intelligence. So, if you think that you are smart and you can prepare an Excel, can apply tools to that and can get results, editors are more smarter than you. Then one fine day they'll ask you, send us the sheet, and then they will tell their people to run that sheet. You can manipulate the figures, but can't manipulate the entire results. Duplicate submission. You know, in order to get the publication faster, people, what are they doing? They submit to her, to you, to you, to you, 4 times. And believe me, this academic world is so small. If I am doing some work in consumer behavior in community-based tourism, maybe the journal editor sent that to me to review. You also send that same article to me to the review. And what will happen? Both the journals will blacklist you out. Small world. It doesn't matter that it is from US and from Australia or from New Zealand. You submit your article, same article, to 3 different journals or the different companies, but the reviewers are the same. And this has happened. Many of the authors, they have gone blacklisted by the journals. So don't do that. Of course, if I got rejection from her journal, I'll go through the reviewer's comment, modify my paper, and will submit to the other one, to a lower one. And this has also happened. I have submitted a paper to a B category journal, my dear friends. They rejected straight away. But the author feedback I implemented and submit back to the A category journal, I got through. So that also depends upon the fate of the journal as well, or the publication as well. Then copyright issues and Creative Commons licenses, my dear friends. Every publisher nowadays is asking for that. Don't sign copyright on your co-author's behalf. In fact, ask them to sign and give a scanned copy to you and you can upload it out. Many times, in a hurry of publishing, we do such things. But we don't have any proof when we last somewhere in the future. Responding to reviewers is the most important criteria. I was discussing, I have eaten up your time, so I'll wrap up quickly. So while coming to here, I was discussing to her that many a times my co-author says, see, whatever we have written is the best. I don't know why reviewer criticized that. You know, to a mother, her child is the most beautiful child to her in this world. Isn't it? To mothers, their child is the most beautiful child in this earth. So, same goes the case when we write something, we think that this is the best suited or best written article across the world. My dear friends, there are so many people around. And many a time this happens, your article is very good, but the reviewer wants to take that into the opposite direction. And when, see, would you mind after 1.5 years to say no to a reviewer or to an editor? Then you'll say what? Okay, fine, I'll amend that as per the reviewer want. Because reviewer is God that time. We can't say that whatever we have written is the best. We have to listen to others. And when you develop this habit to listening to others, mark my words, you'll succeed in life. That is what the second point lies. How to handle criticism positively. We have to remain positive. You know, quality comes from the quantity. Quality comes from the quantity. Because in the first slide I told you that more we practice, more we enhance and sharpen our skills. So, Rome was not built in a day. Your first paper can't be a A-star paper unless or until you are not blessed by the God. Let us climb a step by step. You know, when we were babies, we can't climb to the 2 steps. Right? And we need to prepare a response to the reviewer's document positively. If you are not willing to incorporate the suggestions by the reviewers, very humbly and politely say, thank you very much for your positive, constructive feedback. Although, this seems to be the limitation of the study, and we are addressing in our next coming paper. Because the aim of the paper is to work until this much. So, he or she also will not get offended. My dear friends, this ego in this today's world, people have a very high ego. So we have to be very humble, very grounded. Thank you very much. You are correct, but this is also my case. So I rest my case up to you. Right? And we need to be persistent. Whatever, no matter, whatever happens, you know, we shall stick to our idea and we shall overcome one day. We have listened when we were kids, na? We shall overcome one day. So persistence, rejections and failures are the part of the life. They make you more wiser, my dear friends. Don't get disheartened. Get disappointed. You should be disappointed when your paper got rejected, but you should not get disheartened, because once you get disheartened, you will not have the courage again to write that or to amend or to modify that paper. So this one thing we should always keep in our mind, that whatever we have written is not going to sail through smoothly. Right? There will be thunderstorms in between, and we have to deal with them. And what are the common challenge for the students, my dear friends? Lack of confidence, you know. But remember the day when you start crawling, when you don't know how to get up and start walking. Remember the day you start crawling. Ask your mother. She might be, you know, having that date when you start crawling or when you start, you know, standing on your feet. This is not an easy thing you will do and it will sail through. So we have to maintain the confidence. Don't lose hope. Don't lose confidence. Of course, when I say don't lose hope, my dear friends, hope is not the strategy. You need to strategize that how I am going to successfully pitch this paper and may lead this until publication. Then we have the limited writing skills. We are a blessed generation. Generation Z. We have the technology in our pocket. You know how to go from here, Johannesburg. 10 options will come out when I ask Google. So, what this advent of technology does to us, this limited our vocabulary. This harmed our writing skills. And why we are writing bad? Because we born in this area where everything was readily available. Let's get back to the basics, start writing every day. This remember me, my school days when my teacher come to the class and give us 5 words and tell us to write a story on that. And people, you know, elder to my generations, I still found them the more wiser, more learned, having good vocabulary, and the use of word they have, those which we lack. Thanks to technology. Then, selecting a good journal. We may have another session, or Dr. Prachi may take up how to select a good journal. You know, go to the top tier journal. Aim high and try. Then rejection and delays. This is a part and parcel of the life. Don't get discouraged, appointed. Unlike us, there are so many millions of people writing paper to a particular journal. They are also human beings who are dealing with the journal manuscripts. And this reminded me, I was surprised that if ChatGPT can do a lot of things, this can also do the peer review process or the, whether to send this journal to the reviewing or not to that. Using generative artificial intelligence in the peer reviewing or in selecting whether to set paper to the peer review or to desk reject it. Language barriers, of course, this we know that we are having a limited hand on that. But we can always find a colleague, who can do it for us and make. And one more thing which I started when I was doing this in 2019, I started working on the Google Drive. In Google Drive, there is inbuilt Grammarly. So 70% of the paper's grammatical mistakes got sorted out in the when you work in the Drive. So what I do, I put the things and I start writing in the Drive. And this made me unable to work from anywhere. I'm traveling in South Africa. I don't need to carry a laptop. I'll just go to a cyber cafe or a tab. I'll just open my Drive and start working from there. Right? And time management, of course. We have everything these days, but we don't have time. So we need to do it. Tips to get published successfully. My dear friends, start early. Don't wait until the end of the degree. You should be knowing that the degree is going to finish in 2 years or 3 years, right? And if that is a requirement that the lady said that she is doing research only to get the award of a doctoral degree, so why to wait until 5 years? Let's start from the first year itself. And until the 3 years, 4 years, we may have 2-3 papers in our kitty. This made our life easy. Collaborate with supervisors and peers. Attend conferences and workshops. Good networking. Next investment and the next future is how much well networked you are. If you have friends across the globe, they can do it for you. Then read widely in your field. And the most important, revise, revise, revise. There is an Indian movie which says that movies are meant for entertainment, entertainment, and entertainment. So papers are all about revise, 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 write, revise, write, revise, write, revise. Right? And maintain a research diary. I told in the beginning that whatever come across me, I used to write it down and then to try to channelize that. Of course, there are so many tools available for reference managers, Mendeley, Zotero, EndNotes, Grammarly tool. Grammarly. I told that if you don't have that much money to get your paper proofread, I know everybody can't spend $500 for a proofreading in Taylor Francis. So try to start and try to write it down in the Drive. And then the Drive, fix 60 to 70% of the errors in the English. Then make your digital presence on the platforms like ResearchGate, Google Scholar, Publons. Try to get the paper's review. Start from the lower journals. When you submit a paper to any journal, they ask that whether you are available to review, say yes. Because when you review a paper for Emerald, after submitting successful review, they give you 30 copies. So you don't need to buy any subscription or to waste the money. You don't have subscription of any of the Elsevier, Taylor Francis, you can review from them. Then journal finder tools like Elsevier, Springer, Wiley. Then ORCID ID to the academic fraternity. You should have the Scopus account, ORCID account, Publons account. Scopus is a bit difficult because unless you have 2 papers published in the Scopus, you may not have a Scopus account. But the rest you can have. Right? Then the roadmap for publishing, my dear friends. First year, focus on reading and review process. Second year, publish early research findings. And then aim for journal articles, collaboration, and conference papers. Final takeaway is publishing is a journey, not a one-time goal. So once you have a goal in 60 minutes match, if you want to win, you have again to score a goal. So this will come again and again and again. It is not a final destination. Once you publish one, this gives you courage, you will publish a second one. When you have 2 in the kitty, you aim for 4 in the kitty. When you have 4 in the kitty, you aim 8 in the kitty. And this is a multiplier effect. Because I usually teach to my students that tourism has a multiplier effect. Same the academia and the academic publishing has a multiplier effect. And quality versus quantity. My dear friends, quality comes from quantity. So publish in ample numbers first, then focus on quality. Nowadays, I only focus 2 papers a year. But there were days when I focus on 5 papers because at least I should diversify myself from the others. Then learn from your rejections. These rejections are the injections for better immunity. We had the COVID-19 vaccine, you know. So these rejections are the injections for the better research. And ethical research is equal to the long-lasting impact of your research. Don't do anything unethically, because sometimes you may have to pay for that. Any questions and answers, my dear friends? I am open to, since I have written 15 minutes of Dr. Prachi's time. Because a teacher is always a philosopher. And once you give me a stage to deliver a lecture, you know, I don't know how I am going to end it in how much time. Any questions? I would love to answer. Or you can have my email ID. You can follow me on LinkedIn, Google Scholar. That part is Dr. Prachi's. But I would love to get back to you. Whatever problem you are facing in research, unless or until you should be hardworking and should accept that, yes, these were the pitfalls and we will make out from here. And with these words, my dear friends, thank you very much. And thank you very much, Dr. Kaiteno Du, for giving me an opportunity to come to South Africa. Thank you. And now it's over to Dr. Prachi.
Thank you so much, sir. Looks like someone else needs a lesson in time management. It's okay, I'll take it
Yes.
from here.
Thank you.
Mine comes as a really big satire after having such a focused discussion on why it is important to publish. Because that's something I'm not going to talk about at all. Let me try to figure this. Apple ecosystem, with all due respect, I judge it. How do I do this? Full screen mode. Did it work? It did. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Prachi Thakur. Prachi is a Sanskrit word meaning east, where I come from. I'm from India. Right now, I work in Malaysia. That's not important. I mean, my career is important, but in academia, when I was a PhD student, I was also somewhere here that I want to publish because I need to get my degree. But before my year 5, when I submitted, before I had published any paper in any category journal, before I had published any academic book chapter, anything wildly academic, I was invited to speak in one of the largest conferences of Asia Pacific. That is called the Travel and Tourism Research Association, TTRA. I was also invited to speak in APTA, that is Asia Pacific Tourism Association. I was also invited to speak at COTI, Council of Australasian Tourism and Hospitality Education. All of them was paid. All of them invited me to talk about diversity and inclusion, my research. Mind you, I did not have a PhD, I did not have a publication, and I was 24. I'm a Gen Z. Just in case that made you feel like, oh, this happened like a decade ago. No, it didn't. How did it happen? That's what I'm going to talk about today. I'm not going to take a year because I know better time management. Obviously, I'm Gen Z. I have to stand up for myself. But I'm going to tell you how I did that and how you can do it too, because it's not magic science. It's easier, it's way easier than publications. It just requires a way more consistency. And thanks to the technology, it's easier for us to work with it. Now, it's a no-brainer what I'm going to talk about. But if you want it to split out, I'm going to talk about LinkedIn. Are you on LinkedIn, everyone? Who is not on LinkedIn? Why? Okay, I'll connect later, tea time. Also, just making it very clear, LinkedIn is not paying me to do this session. I hope they do. Because as we saw in the first, who doesn't love money? I do. So LinkedIn is not paying me. But I talk about LinkedIn a lot. I have now, this is my 6th international conference where I have been invited to speak only about LinkedIn. Why? I told you that I got invited to speak before I got my PhD, before I got any of my publications, but I also got my collaborations from there. All of my collaborators are actually my LinkedIn connections. The job that I have right now, 1.5 years into Malaysia, I graduated in India, I had no contacts in India, I was straight up head-hunted for the job I have right now. And that's not a small feat. And when I got the job, by the way, I had only one publication. So you know how much importance I place on it. Again, not to say that publication is not important. Please do not come back at me with words. So now, about LinkedIn. You all know about LinkedIn. It's a platform people usually use to talk about as a job hunting platform. It is way bigger than that. It has way more possibility of making impact than that. Very short, crisp presentation. We are going to touch on 3 topics. Why do researchers and academics, because I'm academic myself, a researcher myself, why do we need to be active? What to post? Because this is the most common question that I get. Okay, what do we post? Because us academics, can you tell me what do we commonly post? Yeah. We write papers, we post about papers, we think about papers. And our life revolves around that. The academics in my circle, hot off the press, hot off the press, hot off the press is burnt now. It's too hot. Let it chill. Talk about something else. Hot off the press. So we are infamous for writing monotonous, boring, useless posts. Adds value to no one. I know this is difficult to sit with. Trust me. Been there, done that. Been burnt. Because that's what we do. Some of my senior researchers, I have met them in person, I'm like, why is your LinkedIn a morgue? It's cold. It doesn't have engagement or life. You go there once, 2 months when your paper is accepted, you write hot off the press and you come out. Or you go there to type thank you to all the people saying congratulations. You know what I'm talking about. So, we are also going to talk about what do we post, because we don't want our LinkedIn to be morgue. We want it to have a life that we have, vibrant, intellectual. We have so many ideas. Then why is our LinkedIn dead? We'll figure out today. And how to post. Again, this shouldn't have been a content, but after experimenting with a lot of academics from all across the world, trust me, we are the most clueless bunch. I have data to support this because I'm a researcher at heart. But before we go in there, this, I like to call it as a self-reflection exercise. How many of you have your recent photo on LinkedIn? Recent means past 6 months. Can I have show of hands, please? Past 6 months. My God, see? Look around you. Why I'll tell you, I'll tell you a very quick story. So there was this colleague I was working with, and I was like, hi, we are meeting at a conference. Oh my God, let's meet and have a coffee. And she's like, yeah, let's meet. Okay, I went there, I was having a coffee, and she comes by and she says, hi Prachi, it's me, Dr. Mani. I was like, this is a 50-year-old woman. The one I wanted to meet was 23. She was a senior lecturer. The photo she had on LinkedIn was from her master's. You see the mismatch of expectations. I don't have experience with Tinder, but people told me this is what happens there. You see someone, you meet someone else. Shouldn't happen in professional lives, you know, it's dangerous. So that, again, sitting reflections. Second, do you have a bio? So when you go in your LinkedIn, there is a section that asks you about your bio. How many of you have more than 2 sentences there? Show of hands, please. More than 2 sentences. See, the bar is there. More than 2 sentences in LinkedIn bio. You have? Okay, good. More than 2 sentences? What do we write? PhD student. Lecturer at WAL. Human Resources Management researcher. You are not dropping hints for the Interpol. This space is designed to tell stories about you. And why I say this with emphasis is, as academics, we are so deep into preciseness, conciseness, that somewhere we forget to tell the stories about who the hell we are. We shrink ourselves in one thing, that we are a PhD student, we are a lecturer, or with all due respect, I am a professor. I mean, you lowly people, you should know I'm a hello, chill. Chill. So yeah, we forget that we are so much more than a researcher. We have stories to tell, where we come from, what we did, what led us here. Why the hell did we start our PhD in the first place? We forget all this. And we decide to write our bio like we are dropping hints for Interpol. Then comes the customized URL thing. This is called late branding. But it's okay, the camera is still rolling. So when you go on LinkedIn, there is an option to customize your URL. How many of you know of this feature? Do you know about this feature? Do you use it? See, having knowledge and using that knowledge are so different things. I know a lot about Indian cooking. I'm Indian. But for your own safety, don't ever eat what I cook. Because having knowledge this is a very beautiful scenery. That's okay. So having knowledge and utilizing that knowledge is different. So if you eat what I cook, I can't guarantee your health. No, cannot, right? So please use the knowledge. Don't be like me. And the fourth point is what we want to talk about, the essence. When I go on your platform, when I go on your LinkedIn, does it tell me who you are, what you want to talk about, what inspires you? Or it just tells me that you are a professor? Professor Caetano Dubey is not here. Good. Well, many congratulations to him. He recently became a professor. And he does not have professor in his bio, so he's a good man. See, I'll tell you. By now you have gotten the idea that I am not the serious academic you must be coming across. I don't fit in that mold. When I was starting out in academia, especially being a brown young female, people told me that you need to be serious. I was like, tell me more. I'm not serious. I do serious things. I do research. I had worked 2 times as a consultant to United Nations World Tourism Organization. I do cool things, but that doesn't ask my seriousness. It asks my intellect. Right? So that. Now, let's come back to the discussion. Why do we want to create on LinkedIn? Why do we want to create content? Again, we are talking about content creation because we are Gen Z. If you're not Gen Z, please start creating content. Why? Because research, knowledge, intellect is no publishing house's property. It should be commonly available. And as a researcher, especially from a non-privileged country, I think it is your moral responsibility to make your research, make your knowledge more accessible. Why? Because we don't have access. So when we get it, when we learn something, it's our moral responsibility to tell it to more people. Right? So that is first thing why we should, in case you were wondering, oh, why do we need to create? We need to create because we need to share knowledge wider than the research paper. And you know, again, burning some fires before the evening bonfire. You know who reads your research paper in full? There are only 3 people who read your research paper in full. You, because you had to write it. Your supervisor, if they are good, because no guarantee. No guarantee. And the person who is wildly in love with you. Yeah. As an academic, my standards of love are high. If you love me, you read my research papers. If you don't, I have trust issues. I spent 2 years in that thing. You can't spend 2 months. Exactly. Commitment. How will you commit? If you are thinking about reviewer 2, the editors, the publishers, let me walk you to a reality. No one reads your research paper in full. Because they don't have to. Dr. Sandeep was talking about in the previous section, right? That editors make decision on your paper in 10-15 minutes. Because that's the amount of time they need to read your introduction literature review. Because that's more than enough to tell you the quality of your research, where you are. That is why the introduction and the literature review should be really, really, really strong. And about the paper title, he said it to be concise. I think it should be catchy. The most recent paper I published was called Boobs, Beauty and Booty Calls. It got published in a A-star. They just removed the boobs, didn't like it. But they kept the booty calls. So I was like, okay, win-win. Because it should spark curiosity. If it is concise and generic, if it sparks curiosity, good. If it's informative, good. Now, my God. It's okay, I can carry on without this. Now, 20? 13. Oh, 2030. Oh, futuristic. That's why I was like, why is he living in the past? Huh, okay. Now, so that's there. We talked about the paper. We talked about dissemination of knowledge. That should be the first why. The answer to the age-old question, as researchers, what the hell do we post? If we are not cleaning the thing, that hot off the press, please do not hot off the press. The press is on fire, it's too hot, let it chill. Let it chill. Now I have started posting cold off the press because it took 1.5 years, the press is not hot anymore. It took too long to get reviewed. So the first thing that we post about, the literature that we read. But isn't it commonly available? Remember, no one reads the paper in full. So people don't know what literature talks about, especially about the topic you are researching on. Sir, are you a researcher? Are you a researcher? What are you working on? You are working with small-scale farmers to do something. To do something. He's working with small-scale farmer. Anyone else who's working with small-scale farmers? No. Okay. I work on diversity training. I'm the second person in the world to work on that topic within tourism and hospitality. And the second person who did the literature review on it because there was no literature review on it. What's the moral of the story? Moral of the story is that the topic you are working on, each one of you, is so unique to you that the depth of the literature you went to can't be comprehended by anyone else. You can tomorrow start a paper on diversity training. But I have spent 5 years looking at each and every single work that has ever been done on diversity training. Do you think you know better than me? Maybe, but I'd like to believe no. What does that mean? That when you go on LinkedIn and you want to create content, you can very confidently talk about your literature, something interesting that you found, something magical that you found. For example, Dr. Sandeep was previously talking about that how flying shame wasn't a thing in India. Flying pride was, right? So you look at the literature and then you say, you know what, this is fine, but you know it's not really applicable in my context. You talk about it on LinkedIn. Guess who doesn't require a peer review? LinkedIn. You can post whatever the hell you want. Creative freedom. And in our context, academic freedom, intellectual freedom. We can share our opinions and expressions exactly the way we want without spending $500 on proofreading. Isn't that good? Now, After you have talked enough about literature, what magical did you find, what boring did you find, something interesting that you found, you can also talk about the data that you're working with. Either you collected the data or you are working on secondary data. You don't need to have a published paper to talk about your findings. I have no idea why no one told this to academics, that they can talk about their findings before the paper is published. Did you know that? Did you act on it? See, my cooking knowledge and my cooking skills, remember. One of them is lethal. That is my skills. Knowledge is really good. Now, the findings. Before we publish, we can talk about it. I started talking about the impact of diversity training in Indian hospitality and tourism way before I published any of the papers. People who hired me at United Nations, do you think they read my paper? Take a wild guess. Do you think they did? No, because they couldn't care less. They want to see your expertise. And how do you show your expertise? By talking about the literature, by talking about the data that you have, by telling people that you know your literature, you know your data, you know your context. One paper does not establish your expertise. 100 LinkedIn posts does. If I publish one A-star publication, does tell nothing about my expertise. But if people are looking at my posts day in, day out, where I'm talking about diversity, I'm talking about gender, I'm talking about inclusion, they know who I am. LinkedIn knew about who I am. Do you know about LinkedIn's Creator Accelerator program? So years ago, when I say years ago, it was 2-3 years ago, LinkedIn floated a program where they paid creators to create content in a niche area, very niche area. I was one of the selected ones. Oh my God. This time it's not me. Trust issues with tech. So they selected me. Why? Because I was talking about diversity and inclusion within tourism and hospitality. People don't do that. It's a niche area. Even now, it's a niche area. People talk about, Dr. Sandeep was just talking about, people talk about collaboration. Hey, Prachi, do you want to work on something? I'm like, is it about gender? Is it faintly about gender? No. I'm like, no, thank you. I'll publish one paper a year. Doesn't matter. Even as an early career researcher. But I don't want to dilute my own brand on LinkedIn. Right now on LinkedIn, I have more than 33,000 followers, which is decent big when it comes to, because LinkedIn is not Instagram. You don't go viral there, although I did go viral there. This is something you might want to take a picture of, because this is 1 month of content ideas on what you can create as a researcher. This is very specifically tailored to researchers. Okay? If you cannot see this at the end of the slide, I will show you the QR code to my LinkedIn profile. You can also find this detail there. I create these content calendars every month to post on my LinkedIn because I don't want researchers away from LinkedIn. There's a gold mine we work with, the amount of literature, the amount of knowledge we have, the amount of knowledge we think we need publications for is going to waste. And I don't really appreciate it. How do you post? LinkedIn algorithm loves long form content. It's not Instagram or TikTok, where short videos are rewarded because people can consume more of it. LinkedIn rewards long form, detailed, in-depth posts. Again, good for researchers like us because we always have a lot to talk about. We saw that right now, didn't we? We have a lot to talk about. As Dr. Sandeep said, a teacher is a philosopher. Every academic is a philosopher. Because we have a lot to talk about. We have a lot of opinions. When we see something, when we read something, when we know something, we have a story to tell. And LinkedIn loves that. When we give context, when we give depth to our content. Obviously, you can go with video as well, but again, the video, the longer the better. It's not Instagram or TikTok. You won't go viral on LinkedIn unless you have like really scandalous opinions. And obviously, you can have carousals. You must have seen carousals where people upload PDF. There is a slide you can just scroll across, right? My recommendation, again, if you check out my profile, you will see that I am into deep, long-form content. So that is my recommendation. Now, something that I have written here beneath the text thing about no one cares and everyone cares. Majority of people who haven't created on LinkedIn ever, the one thing that they worry about, oh, what will people think? Sister, if what will people think you are thinking, then what will she think? Let her do her job. So point one, no one cares. Really. But then your question is, if no one cares, then why should I write? Valid question, right? Because everyone does. And that's the irony of it. I'll tell you how this paradox is true. When I create content about gender, about feminism, about equal rights, about traveling as a brown female, about traveling as a petite brown female, it's not for everyone. I'm not writing for men. I'm not writing for male experiences because the way men experience travel is very different from the way women experience travel, right? I'm not writing for people who don't believe in feminism. They believe in unicorns. I can't help that. Right? So I don't write for them. But do I write for people like me? Yes. Because by now, in my 7th year of creating content on LinkedIn, I can't tell you the number of women I have met across who see me in a public space and say, you know what, I saw your video and I thought that it's good to travel alone. The kick that sentence gives you, you will never get that kick from a research publication. Why? Because it tells you the real life impact you have on people. It tells you the power you have from your knowledge, your experience. Again, I write about myself because I'm a brown female who travels alone. You can write about, again, you, sir, are working with small farmers, right? That itself, not a lot of people work on that area. So you don't know who will see your content, get inspired in some way to do something that is needed to change. And this comes the most nerdy part. Trust me, this is like the most nerdy part. Why do you reach out to people? Because this is an academic conference, I need to tell you the academic benefits of this as well, right? Because otherwise, Professor Kaitana will be, why did I invite her? In the nerdy world, you can use LinkedIn to find a job like me. Not find a job, let people find you a job. Like they did, because I did not apply for the job I have right now. I did not drop application. I did not send my CV to anyone. I did not make a cover letter. They found me. By the time they found me, I was already everywhere. Like that curd salad outside. You pour it on plate, it's everywhere. I was everywhere. People knew the work I did. Before I had my publications, again and again I'm telling you, not that it's not important, but it's not the only thing in academic world. So what do you look out for? What do you reach out to people for? You reach out to people for collaborations, for the job, for feedback on your work. Maybe you want to collaborate with someone. Maybe you want to ask advice from someone on something, your work, your profile, the way you have written your CV, the idea that you have. Maybe you want to work with them. And something in general. Or you want recommendations, right? I will give this set of slides to your conference organizers. But here, I'm going to quickly run through these slides because I don't think you're babies and you need to read every single sentence of it. And trust me, this was not generated by ChatGPT. No, yes, it's not. Again, if you go at my profile, one thing I advise against very, 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 very strictly, never ever use ChatGPT to create content on your LinkedIn. It damages your brand really fast. Why? Because the amount of reading that we researchers do, we can smell AI from a kilometer. We can smell AI before it comes so close. We can read AI. We can smell that AI. So please don't damage your brand. One of the other common questions that I get about LinkedIn is, how frequently should I post? Doesn't matter. Consistency does. If you have time to create only one post on LinkedIn in a week, do it. But create every week. Don't miss out. If you have too much time, or you think it is too important, like I don't have too much time, but I do think LinkedIn as a very integral part of my career. So I draft a lot of posts for a month. And I post every day. Long form content, something about my research, something about gender, something about, you will see if you check my profile out. But again, consistency is the key. So, some slides, if you want to take a picture, you can. If you don't, I will share the slides, or you can reach out to me as well. So I'm just going to show this because I don't want to hold you back. Please, this is a QR code. And here, you can see my personalized LinkedIn ID. It does not have random ass numbers at the back. 93432. What the hell is that? Nothing. So your URL should look concise like this, unless you like 143 at the end of it. So it is an old joke I've gotten from my mother. So you can scan this, it will take you to my profile, and you can see that whatever I write about, it has a personal tone to it as well. It's not nerdy at all. Not nerdy at all. Why? Because academic writing is jargony enough. We don't need LinkedIn to be jargony. Okay? That is all from me about LinkedIn, not publications, and about not being serious in academia. Yeah, please don't be. We are so serious in academia that it's difficult to breathe. Now, do I have any questions about any of the things that I've talked about? And I do understand, and a huge thanks to Professor Caetano, because this is not the type of event, this is not the type of session you will traditionally find in conferences. In conferences, unfortunately, 100% of sessions are about editor's view on writing, best practices, too much academic writing happening. And the reality is, it's like recycled ideas from one session to another. We are all talking about the same thing. Quality over quantity. No one will tell you that they'll only give promotion to the quantity. No one gives a shit about quality. Reality. That's why I don't talk about publications. I publish. But I don't like talking about it. Why? Because I am not the quote-unquote prolific author. No, I'm not. What I am, very happily, is an author who has an impact. Because people meet me and tell me that they have read my work, they have seen my TEDx talk, they have seen me talk somewhere, that they were inspired to travel solo because of me, that there was someone who got a divorce because of me. That happened. It's a true story. Not very proud about the fact, but very proud that at least if you wanted to take a decision, I became the reason that you took a decision for your life. It's your life. Yeah, the other side didn't have the same opinion for obvious reasons. But I'm happily, joyfully doing academia. I love being in academia because it allows me to interact with people like you. It allows me to do something that I love doing, teaching, doing research, without thing hanging here. Oh, you publish, then you get promotion. I'm like, keep your promotion. I'll take care of other things. So if you want more joy in your life, more impact, please do create on LinkedIn, because that is a source of joy. You will meet people, like-minded researchers. You'll have a tribe of your own. I was talking to Dr. Sandeep, and he was asking me about, who do you collaborate with? I'm like, my collaboration is like this close community. We don't publish 19 papers a year. We definitely do not have 30 papers in the pipeline. What we do is every 2 years or 3 years, we have one paper that comes out. And we all cry and celebrate because we have all poured our hearts in that one paper. It's a blood and sweat. But that's what serves me. Again, definitely not advising against quantity. Please publish as much as you can. Just don't, not with me. But please also create on LinkedIn. Again, LinkedIn is not paying me to say this, but it's a very good platform for your career. Do you have any questions? Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. So I just wanted to say that I've also used LinkedIn for my research, where I collaborated with some of the people that didn't have their papers on open access, which is highlighting the importance of open access. So my question to you is, how do we strengthen then open access to make academic widely available for the marginalized, such as African people? Because you'd find some papers are restricted and we don't have access to it, but I've used LinkedIn, as I said, to leverage that. Thank you.
You actually answered the question. See, academic liberty is a unicorn. We can believe in it all what we want, but there are people who will never let it come true. You know why? Do you know why? Because it serves them. If they make the knowledge open access, a lot of people, thankfully I don't need it anymore, a lot of people will go out of jobs. They make profit out of our intellect, our blood and sweat, our knowledge. So the way you're working on LinkedIn is the right way to go about it. If it is not open access, reach out to the authors on LinkedIn and say that, hey, I found your paper really cool. Can you share it with me? Trust me, 100% of authors will share it with you, right? So especially, again, I also want to tell you that Africa is not the only marginalized country. I come from India. So when I was doing my PhD, my university had access to total 0 journals. So when I was writing my acknowledgements, I gave a huge acknowledgement to Sci-Hub. You know what a Sci-Hub is? You do? Yes. So the first sentence in my thesis is like, a huge thanks goes to me. Because I'm a Snoop Dogg fan. I want to thank me for doing all the hard work. I want to thank me for not giving up. And no joke, I literally wrote it. And my academic committee was like, what the hell is this? I was like, would you have done this PhD if I wasn't doing it? No. I did it. So I want to thank me. The second was to Sci-Hub. The third was my supervisor. So Sci-Hub helped me. It can help you too. And LinkedIn as well. But otherwise, open access, it's a costly affair, and unfortunately, as unfortunate academic reality it is, it's not something that is ever going to happen. That the full knowledge will be fully accessible, because then how will Elsevier make money? That's why, please create content on LinkedIn. Do not let these academic publishing houses capitalize on your knowledge, your hard work. Because you didn't work 5 years to have them earn money. Earn money for yourself. Any other questions? Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you so much for a very interesting thing. It has also even triggered me. I once attended a workshop around LinkedIn. So for the purposes of this conference, it is, I'm forgetting, I was checking also on my phone, again, how to create a business card. Because I think by the end of this conference, I might get 1 or 2 collaborators. But they once showed us that on your LinkedIn, you can create a business card.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
On your LinkedIn, in case you don't know or are unfamiliar, on your LinkedIn mobile, you have an option of creating a QR code of your LinkedIn. Use that. Ask people to scan that. Or you can always show your LinkedIn page if it is showable. But please, before you, yes, you have a question, sir. Please, before you show it. Oh, I cannot show that because that option does not show up in laptop. But if you have a phone, I can meet you outside and I can show you. Right? Sure. Here you should have an option. 1 second. You copy this link, and you can create a QR code. I'll show it to you. I have it in my phone. Any other question about LinkedIn, about the research that I do? Anything? Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for an insightful presentation, I think, about LinkedIn. I just wanted to inquire, how secure is that platform? Because at one time, I had to shut down my account. It had actually been hacked, and people started writing something which was very, very naughty there.
That question, the complexity of that question went from level 1 to level million in a second. Sir, with no specific comments on the naughty part, the platform is rather secure. As long as you have two-factor authentication, always have two-factor authentication, and I'm not saying this lightly, please have two-factor authentication in your LinkedIn, unless you want naughty things to be written on your LinkedIn. I didn't say that, he said that. Please have two-factor authentication. Other than that, it's rather secure. I have been using it for 8 years, 7 years very actively, and fortunately, no naughty things yet. Touch wood, no jinxing happening.
Okay, thank you very much. My question is on, I constantly receive some messages which says, upgrade to premium or what, then verify your account.
Verification is important, yes. See, that's another thing I can talk about. Always verify your account with your registered national ID, your passport or your driving license or things like that. Always verify it. Why? Because then it helps the LinkedIn team to retrieve your account in case people get naughty with your account. So please verify. But always, and I'm telling you, always have two-factor authentication on your LinkedIn. Do not treat LinkedIn as a social media platform. It's an investment platform. And it gives you higher returns than any of the index funds across the globe. And trust me, from a person who has reaped its benefits in every single area of my life. Anyone who knows me as a LinkedIn child. My parents don't know about it, that I'm someone else's child as well. But I created my portfolio career. I do a lot of speaking, which you can see right now. I do a lot of speaking about LinkedIn. I do a lot of speaking about research. I got a lot of jobs, all in academia and outside academia. I got my academic role, all because of LinkedIn. So it's a magnificent profile, magnificent platform. Any other questions in the room? Yes, sir. Yes. But it has your story, no? The whole point is about your story. See, I'll give you an example. Recently, I posted about a literature review paper that I read. I work on gender. So it is very common for me to hear, oh, everyone is working on gender nowadays. No, they are not. They are not working on gender. And how do I know this? Because I'm a researcher. I have the data to prove it. So I went on LinkedIn and I made a post about what I hear as a gender researcher, why I think it is not true, where does it come from, which insecurity does it talk about. You can get the idea from AI, you can get the content, but my story, no AI can generate. That is also very important for you to distinguish in this era of AI. Everyone thinks that us academics generate a shitload of text. What is a paper? It's just 19 different paragraphs about something that we think is true, right? So if someone wants to give us a lot of money to hire us for a role, they should be able to have trust on what we say. How do you build that trust if you're already using AI to write like 5 paragraphs? You know, I'll tell you, you are academic yourself. One of the best compliments an academic can get, quote unquote, when I read this, I knew it was written by you. That's the best compliment an academic can get. When people can tell your work from your work. This happened with me 2 years ago. I had sent a paper for review, and obviously, I didn't know the editor. But one of the reviewers, again, I don't know the reviewer, they reached out to me that, have you submitted your paper in this journal? And I was like, I have. How do you know that? And they're like, oh, I got to review. I was like, okay, how do you know it was my paper? And then they told me that when I read the work, I knew that you write like this. And I was like, damn. Can you imagine someone telling you inside a paper. That's what happens. Because if you, again, check my LinkedIn out, you will see that I write a certain way, the way I talk. You can hear me in my posts. And you can hear me in my academic writing as well. So people who know me know the way I talk, know the way I argue. Why? Because over the last 7 years, they have read my posts. Majority of them have. So as academic, I think that's a good compliment to have when your reviewers can tell you, again, that can backfire as well. This was written, I'm never going to accept it. I'll become the reviewer too. Can happen, but still. So I hope I answered your question, sir. Any other questions? Yes.
Yeah, it's not a question directed to you, but to the professor. Yes. All right. Professor, I have a question. It's on the use of AI. The use of AI is increasing each day. I don't know, in terms of data analysis for our research, can we use AI? I know you can take an Excel document and you put it on an AI tool, then you say, run a regression analysis. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your question. See, when I talked about ethics as well and integrity as well. AI may help you in that way, but it's not a long-lasting and sustainable solution. Editors may catch it immediately, and there are tools. There are tools to help you out, and there are tools to help the editors and reviewers as well. See, it's a business, and they do business both the sides to make and maximize the profits. So my suggestion and advice and request to you, don't go by that. See, traditional methods are good methods. AI can give you an idea about a topic, take an idea. It's not bad to take an idea from there. But to make it novel, you need to write, you need to craft. And our mothers used to weave a sweater for us. We need to weave the literature review like that. So literature review is the most compelling aspect which we see once the paper is through for the peer review. So don't go for AI. Traditional methods are there. You can go for, SPSS, R, Smart PLS, SMOS, whatever you want. AI will help you out, but it's for a shorter duration. Because if someone will ask you, how did you do that? You will not be able to answer that. So smart work also need hard work. So unless or until you don't know the process actually, and how to derive the values, how to defend them, which value positive, which value negative, that will help you out AI, but that will not help you to defend your argument later. Thank you very much. Any other? So I guess we have crossed the time.
Thanks a lot, everyone. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. That's all from both of us. Unless you have any questions, you can obviously reach out to him on LinkedIn as well. You have a question for me or for him? For me.
Okay.
Good afternoon again. My question is, I do understand that LinkedIn is also like a social platform.
It is.
Yeah, so there's this saying that social media can make you and it can also break you. So how can we take advantage of LinkedIn as a social platform in such a way that our posts are engaging and also still professional, and in such a way that later in future it doesn't catch up with you? Like, how do we maintain that professional yet?
What is professional for you? Because this is professional for me. I mean, isn't it? Aren't we all sitting in an academic conference? I'm wearing the most Western colonial dress possible. It's professional for me. So what is professional for you? You tell me, then I will give you the answer.
No, just that the standard of posts on LinkedIn
Changes.
Yeah. So I want to understand, like, what are things that we could look out for? Like, is it advisable to engage in really serious conversations there, like criticizing politics? What can we look? What does it say?
Thank you for that question, because I think you are taking one for the team. Her question was that social media is a double-edged sword, right? Something that can work for us, can work against us. And again, I told you a sentence that you don't go viral on LinkedIn, but I'll tell you, because I did. One of my LinkedIn posts went so viral on LinkedIn that it still is one of the most shared, liked, and commented posts on entire LinkedIn. It has close to 1 million reactions. On LinkedIn, that's not a possibility. But I saw that possibility. But what happened? It backfired. As in, it obviously made me extremely visible, but it also backfired because people started sharing their own opinions. I mean, who cares? But everyone cares, exactly. So how do you maintain that balance? You don't. You draw boundaries for yourself. Like, for example, I don't engage in religious debates. Unless it's about our opinion on religion, I don't condemn, oh, I don't believe in this. I believe in Santa Claus and SpongeBob. SpongeBob is my religion. Other than that, I don't. Unless it's anything about SpongeBob, then I'm commenting. I don't engage in religious debates. I do engage in very serious political feminism debates. Yes, I do. Why? Because this is, again, a part of who you are. Feminism is core to who I am. Equal rights for men and women is for me. Again, I also engage on posts that box up men in a certain way, because, again, that's not feminism. If you are putting men in a box, it's equally wrong as putting women in a box. So I will engage on it. So gender-free debate, right? But then again, I don't give extremist opinions. I'm not a radical feminist. If someone is a radical feminist, good for them. You have your own views to work with. I'm not a radical feminist. In case you don't know who a radical feminist is, feminism has different branches of thought, philosophies of thought. A radical feminist believes that this world cannot be equalized unless you demolish the structure altogether. There is no room for negotiation. That's what a radical feminism thought is. I don't believe in that. Okay? So maybe a radical feminist says that, oh, the world is, all problems are because of men, all men should be above. You get the gist. I don't post things like that. So you create boundaries of what you think is professional for you. And something, I'll tell you something that I have kept for myself. LinkedIn content is like tattoo. Never get something that you will regret. Butterflies. Lion head. Again, people who, sometimes you will always find people who have lion head and butterfly tattoos who don't regret it. Same thing with content. Some people make content, they don't regret it. But I get tattoos which I won't regret. I have a lot of tattoos. So think of it like that. One thing that I want to just give a general advice, please don't think too much about creating content on LinkedIn. Again, nobody cares. But then everyone does. Yes, sir.
Yeah, you said LinkedIn can also be used for social data as well, right? Are we able really to harvest data, especially for research purposes from LinkedIn, just like the way you can harvest from Twitter or Instagram?
Obviously, yes. I have people who use LinkedIn as a research mining thing. Like, yes, I don't work in it, but that's perfectly possible. One of my friends is working on passion. He works at Harvard, and his PhD is about passion at work. Guess where his data is from? LinkedIn. Because where do people talk about work the most? LinkedIn. So yes, LinkedIn is a data generation platform. So if we can use TikTok, we can use Instagram, we can use Facebook, why not LinkedIn? We can. Any other question? Not one. Okay, thank you so much again and have a very good evening. Thanks a lot.